Welcome to this podcast about using Ulrich's web. You will need to log in to ProQuest Discover More, click on the GEP 2013 Product Access and access all products, and then scroll down and choose the Ulrich's web database. So if we click on that, you will then be given a screen which gives you the user ID and password for Ulrich's web. So jot that down or copy and paste it so that you have it. Then click on the blue where it says click here, and you will again get a screen that looks like this. Ulrich's web is the online equivalent of a book you would have used in print in Reference 1 and in Acquisitions called the Ulrich's Periodical Directory, and it is a directory of periodicals, journals, magazines, serials, newspapers, newsletters, and includes them from around the world in multiple languages. And it has added features in the online database version that wasn't in the print, such as with some publications, not with all, but with some of them there'll be a review written about that journal, which tells you a little bit more if you have to choose journals to purchase for your library, which ones would be a good one to purchase. If your library where you're working uses Ulrich's, it may be linked into your catalog or into your databases to connect the search with the actual publication, but we will be using this just for searching publications. So you can start with either just entering a title or ISSN in that search box, or as usual I would recommend that you use the advanced search box because it does give you a lot more features. On the right hand side you'll see a little red question mark. That's the help screen, so if you have questions you can go in there. It's not a very long help file, but it has some tips, like if you're searching for exact phrase to put it into quotation marks. In the advanced screen you'll see a drop-down menu for different kinds of fields that you can search. So title or keyword or by publisher or by frequency of publication. So a number of different ways that you can search, and you will also see a little box that says match search terms all, and you can change that from all, any, or none, and these are like a Boolean operator. So all would take all your search terms that you're putting into the search box and combining them, so it would be like an AND operator. Every term has to show up in your search results. Any would act more like an OR operator, where any of these words might be found, and none would act like a NOT operator, where it would exclude certain types of things. So maybe you're looking for a newspaper, but you don't want the daily papers, you want to find the weekly papers, so you might say not daily. On the right hand side there's something that says add term. If you click on add term, that gives you an additional search box. So if you want to search title and another criteria like let's say the circulation type, you can have two different fields. So that's like adding a sort of additional row, additional search. Now all of these, the title and the circulation type, would be searched by AND, which is that all operator up there. If I want to, I can click on add group, and that will give me a kind of another set of search boxes. I'll zoom in, where I can change my field. Say we do a subject keyword, and then possibly instead of doing an all, I might want to do any. Okay, so the adding group would let you do a bit more sophisticated, more precise search. Because you want to do a different Boolean operator between the fields, you might want to add a different group. So this is fairly fancy. I'm not likely to do all this. So I'm going to start with one example. I'm just going to do a subject keyword search, and I'm going to search on the topic of nursing. Before I hit the search button or say enter to go, I'm going to also choose limits for my search. So I will scroll in on those. So there's different limiters that I can add before I start my search. So status, active, ceased, forthcoming, serial type, content type, and language. So I'm going to just start with choosing the English language. And then there's another item here that says more limiters. So I can also choose some more filters before, or limits before I conduct my search. And I'm going to go under the subject area and say I want something within medicine and health. And I'm also going to click under key feature, the peer-reviewed. So a peer-reviewed journal means that before somebody puts their article in the journal, it is sent to experts to review it to see if it's a good article, and then it's allowed to go to publication. So those are a couple different limits that I'm going to do. There's many more, as you can see on the screen. And I'm going to hit the search button, and here I get my results. This is quite a busy screen. On the left hand side you'll see there's more limits, and also it's highlighting some of the key features that we already chose. You can still change, say if you wanted to change the format to be an online journal or a loose leaf subscription, you can change your formats there. So you could do the limits beforehand or afterwards. On this screen you'll have your list of results. So we found many different journals within this search strategy, and you'll see there's lots of little icons on the left hand side before the title of the journal. So what those mean is the first one is just this is where you would select your journals that you want to keep on a list. So I did a little check mark next to Canadian Nurse. The next icon that looks like it has some bullet points, this means there's a table of contents available. The next one that's black and white, that means it's peer-reviewed journal. So you'll see that icon is in next to each title because we had asked for peer-reviewed. The little E column means it's an electronic or an online journal. The little open combination means it's an open access journal, which means it's free, available online on the internet. You don't need a subscription to use it. And then the little star next to the title means that this particular journal has a written review by a librarian that's in this database. Then on the rest of the screen you will see some information about your journals that you found, the publisher, the ISN, the format of it, and so on. And over here in the dark gray you'll see things that you can do, such as save it to a list. And if you do that, you have to of course create an account for Ulrich, like we did for My Research RefWorks, and that you would also could do for books in print. But you can download it or print it without having an account. If you email it, you have to have an account. So there are ways of doing this without creating another account, yet another account. So I'm going to click on the title of the first publication, Canadian Nurse, and then you'll see, you scroll down a bit, there's quite a bit of more information available about this particular periodical. So something that might be useful to find out is how many times a year is it published. So 9 times a year except certain months, so there's the frequency. It has its websites, it has the subject classification that it's listed under, its key features, that has the title history details. So this is useful if you have a subscription in your library about Canadian Nurse and Hospital Review and you wonder what happened to that publication. You can see here that it's now called Canadian Nurse and it's the same publication. The publishing and ordering details, so how you go about getting access to this journal. How much does this journal cost? So what's the price? Where is it available in full text? So you'll see there's lots of different databases where you can get it electronically in full text. And a couple more things, such as at the very bottom here, this is the reviews that's been written about this particular publication and who reviewed it, and it gives you some ideas of whether this would be a useful journal for you to collect in your library if you were purchasing journals. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll right back to the top and then just show a couple more things. One is this thing called Workspace. So this shows you publications that you've checked off and marked titles. So I just have that first one, Canadian Nurse, here. My search history, so it shows what I've searched before. So that can be helpful if you're doing a lot of searching for publications and you want to see what's there. The lists and alerts are if you're doing a lot, you might want to create an account, or you'd have your own account in a library, and you could create a list, say these are the gardening magazines, and these are the nursing journals, and these are the history journals, or whatever. So you could create a list by subject or by department that you're purchasing it for, or whatever. So you might find that if you use this a lot at work, you might create your own lists or share lists with your colleagues. Up at the top, the Ulrich's update is another thing I want to show you now. And this is, it tells you things that are newly added titles to Ulrich's. So you can see there's a long list. And it tells you by month as well. So you can change the month here. So this is September 2012, and it's a drop-down menu. You can change it. Title changes, so again, that helps you keep track. If you're waiting for the October issue of a particular journal and it didn't come in, but something else came in that you didn't think you subscribed to, then you could see that, oh yes, well, it's changed its name, it's the same one, if you're not sure. Cessation, so these are publications that are no longer being published. And title mergers, so when they change from one or purchase another or put two magazines together into one, and so on. Okay, so that's a basic overview that you could use in Ulrich's web. Again, I recommend using the advanced search because you have more fields that you can search at once. You can add limits to your search, and then when you select a title, you can see more details about your titles and how to order them, how much they cost, and read a review about them. So that's all about the Ulrich's web, and thanks for listening to this podcast.